If you haven't seen my first reaction to the first part of this video, go check my channel for that. It was pretty crazy. Um, some wild stories, man. We're gonna get right back into it. So let's go.
Spooky story. This one is a submission from South Africa, so let's get straight into it. Ladies, sometimes your in-laws be trying to take you clean out, and you just have to know. So we're gonna call this girl Apple. She meets this guy. We're gonna call him Adam. So now Apple and Adam, they get together and now they're in a relationship. One thing Apple remembers from meeting Adam's family is that they didn't like her very much from the first day. And she thought this was okay and that she could work through this. It's okay to not like her at first, but then eventually she's gonna become a part of the family, especially if they don't break up. And she claims to have a pretty solid relationship with Adam, so there was nothing for her to be concerned about in the first place. She said 3 months into the relationship, she suddenly gets pregnant. So now the family, from her perspective, from Apple's perspective, is forced to have to like her because now she's about to give them their grandbaby, you know? So she moves in the house to carry on her pregnancy. She said upon moving in now, she knew these people didn't like her, but maybe because she was pregnant,
That's kind of crazy. I ain't gonna cap. That's crazy. That's crazy. You feel me? Like even if the parents do like you, that could be a lot to put on the parents. Like you got like, cause I don't think they plan on getting pregnant, so they were being irresponsible, right? Got pregnant and says, "Yo, I gotta move in with y'all now." You feel me? Now, whatever's about to take place after this, I'm not condoning that. If they ended up cursing this girl, I don't condone that. I'm just saying though, that is a lot to put on people just because you don't want to be responsible, just because your boyfriend don't want to pull out, or you don't want to wear, or you don't want to wear. I get look. I understand like a lot of people don't want to wear protection. If that's the case, either don't ejaculate or just pull out. Simple.
it allowed them to be nicer to her. You know, she's gonna bring a child into this world for this family, so you know they might as well treat the host with respect.
That's
Throughout
kind
her
of crazy
pregnancy,
though.
everything was going at least good enough. Nothing crazy that she would feel unsafe. I mean, she would overhear the family talking shit about her, but like
Yeah.
questioning whether that was his baby or whether she's
Ooh.
just a whore. But you know,
Ooh.
nothing for Apple to concern herself with because, like, obviously they're not gonna say any of these things to her face. There was this one person, particularly in the family, that would, you know, give her like massages and stuff whenever, like, you know, her stomach or her body starts to hurt. She says she doesn't know exactly what it is, but 5 months into her pregnancy, she unfortunately has a miscarriage. She says even though she's always had a healthy pregnancy, at 5 months, she miscarried. And she said that was just baby number one. Because she went on to try again with her man, and the same thing would happen to.
Oh, so they're actively trying to do this. But even then, why trying to actively have a family without having like your own space established? You feel me? Like, why are you actively putting this responsibility on yourselves and the family? You know what I'm trying to say?
Baby number two. They even went for a third time, and the same thing happened on the third try. She carried and lost 3 babies for this man. So by the time it was the third.
And it's not just the woman's fault, because what's the man doing? You feel me? Like, why are you putting that on your people, bro? Like, I'm not even mad at the girl fully. Like, why is the man's the one who controls if he, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what's going on? Like, what even is this situation? This is just a whole entire freaking show of ignorance.
Baby, people really started questioning her because it was just like maybe she's not able to have children. And unfortunately, her boyfriend Adam started to question the same thing too. Like, yo, like this is the third time you've put me through the ringer in the excitement of having a child, and then you don't pull through. Apple was going through.
Well, that's a crazy perspective for a man to have. You put me through the ringer 3 times. Like, granted, I could see him saying that maybe if she's like, "We gotta have a baby, and please try," and he's not strong enough as a man to say, "I don't want that," or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna start commenting. This whole situation is just crazy.
Depression, anxiety, and so much with, you know, the loss of 3 different, that she started to lose her sense of self. She stopped taking care of herself and she just walked around their house completely depressed. Her husband didn't want to try again, and at this point, she didn't want to try again either. One day she was laying around the house, and her husband, with his mom and the aunt and the grandmother in the house, all came to her and told her that she had to leave. So during her worst time, she got kicked out of that house.
She should have never been inside there in the first place, to be honest. And even with the parents taking her in, that was still crazy too. I mean, I go say that was crazy, but it's like if the parents didn't want her there, they have to take her in. You know what I'm saying?
She said she had to go back in with family, which she thought was the worst thing that could have happened to her at the time. But she says now looking back, that might have actually saved her life. Because after she moved in with her family, they gave her a lot of remedy. They took her to a river to bathe. They sensed that the other family was working witchcraft on her. They made her drink this disgusting cleanse that made her very, very sick for like 5 days. But it was to clear out her reproductive system because it was clogged. She says months after going back in with her family, she started to feel like herself again. She got back together with one of her previous exes, not the one with the murdering family, a guy before him. And she said that upon their first try, she was able to have a child with him. And so now she has a reason to believe that staying in that house, that family.
Oh yeah, they definitely did something to her for a fact. You feel me? But I just feel like that whole situation was just horrible.
Was doing something to her that was making her lose child after child after child.
Which I don't condone that either. You feel me? Because like I said, as the parents, if you didn't like the girl and you ain't want her inside your crib, why'd you even let her move in with you? You feel me? Then again, they could have already plotted like, yo, we're gonna have her move in and then do the witchcraft on her. They could have plotted that too. But still, it's just a whole like.
People are wicked. South Africa, stand up, because y'all in the building today. That's crazy. Okay, guys, so I'm back with another spooky story. This story takes place in St. Thomas, Jamaica. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story Reese. So when she was 13, one of her older sisters went to go live with her mom in St. Thomas, Jamaica, which is said to be the capital of Obia, apparently. Her older sister already lived in that neighborhood with her boyfriend at the time, and Reese herself used to live with another older sister until that older sister moved to another parish, so now Reese had to find another place to live. And at the time, Reese's mother had just rented a house from one of her church sisters, so perfect. Well, not exactly, because the house turned out to be, dun dun dun, haunted. So Reese says she would be sleeping at daytime and even in the night, so it didn't matter what time of day the hauntings were haunting. She says as she's sleeping, she can feel her bed levitating, and as soon as she opened her eyes, the bed would drop. So when that first happened, she was so freaked out she ran and told her mother. And she said, I kid you not, that night she went to bed and had a dream of a man in his late 40s. He was wearing old-fashioned clothes. You talk too fucking much. And when that man said that to her, she would jump out.
Yo, I'm not laughing at her, but it's like, God, that's hilarious, bro. That's funny, bro.
Her sleep. Now keep in mind, her and her mom slept in the same room, but just different beds. She looks over.
I think it said, yo, shut the up, bro. Like, you talk too much, gang.
To her mom's bed, looking for comfort, just to see a carcass of goat heads hovering over her mother in her sleep. I'm pretty sure a carcass of goats means like a shit ton of goats. And out of fear, Reese would just call on Jesus. And because she did so loud, her mother jumped out of her sleep. And as soon as her mother opened her eyes, all the goats disappeared. She said after that, they went to go live somewhere else in the same community though. And Reese says that literal demons would walk beside them when they're coming from night church. Her mom would dream about random people dancing in the living room. And she recalls seeing people walk past her door in the night to go to the kitchen. After living at that second house, her mom sent her to go live with her sister, which was basically across the road. She was able to get her own room there and settle. I decided to not tell y'all not to watch this one at night because y'all don't be listening to my warnings. Thank you so much for watching this story time. If you're from Jamaica, stand up.
That was
Y'all got
alright.
some mysterious magic
That was
stuff
weird
out there
though.
too. Thank you so much for watching Congo. And this story, I'm gonna call it The Devil's Kids. We're gonna call the person that submitted the story Melissa. Specifically from Kinshasa. If I butchered that, I'm so sorry. She says she didn't always grow up in that part of Congo. She wound up going to Kinshasa for work. This story happened when she was about 19 years old. That when she moved down to Kinshasa, things were definitely tough for her because she couldn't find work. At that point, she had just moved into a room and she was really desperately looking for income. She said one day while she was walking around, she runs into this lady. So as she's walking around, she runs into this lady. And this lady tells her that she has 2 kids and that she's looking for somebody to watch her kids. And she asks her, are you willing to do housework, watch my children, and all of that stuff. Melissa, being desperate, agrees. She said the first time she watched those kids was in that person's house. We're gonna call her the neighbor. She said she went over to their house and the 2 kids were there. They were about 2 or 3 years old. She said the first thing that she notices about those kids was that something about their eyes just seemed off. But nonetheless, she's here to watch them and they're little toddlers. So she says as she's watching the kids, she notices that the kids are moving kind of weird, like a little bit robotic. Like there's something off about their...
See, once I seen that, I'm like, word, I'm out. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, I don't play with that, bro. Like, I work with kids in my school, you feel me? But if I seen a demon baby, those are the scariest ones. Because it's like, it's a kid, so you don't want to, like, really, like, do nothing to it because it's a kid. But it's like, that joint's also creepy and scary, and I don't know. I don't mess with the demon babies, bro.
Movement. She gets around the house and she starts cooking for the kids. She prepares their food, puts it on the table, and the kids are not eating. She assumes they're probably not hungry right now and they'll probably just come back for the food later. She also notices that the little girl specifically would just sit in this one corner and just stare at this corner. And it seems like there was something going on in the corner that nobody else could see but her. Because whatever it was that she was staring at, she seemed to be fairly amused by it. Think of a kid watching TV, but instead of television, this little girl was staring at the wall. Now, Mel says one thing to mention is that the entire time that she was in the house, those kids did not interact with her once. She said it's like she was there, but she really wasn't there. Because those kids just walked around the house doing whatever they please, and whenever Mel would try to interject, it's as though they couldn't even hear her. So she says she goes back and tries to feed the kids one more time because the food is still on the table. At this point, it's been a while. They're not eating. So she tries to put them to sleep. It's not working. So she leaves the kids in the room to give them a break for now, but definitely these are the weirdest kids that she's ever watched. Mel said right after leaving the kids' room, she doesn't know what happened to her, but she started to feel faint. Like her head was spinning, and it feels like she just needs a nap, like ASAP. So she sits on a chair and she dozes off. And she said that was one of the worst nightmares that she's ever had in her life. Because as she fell asleep, she didn't realize that she fell asleep because she was lucid. And she says the only thing that was different was the house seemed a little bit darker. And out from the kids' room comes out the children. But not just the children, because there was a large figure behind the children that had its hands on both of the kids' shoulders. So it's as though this figure was leading the kids. She said the kids were emotionless as they walked toward her. She said she was horrified, obviously. She said as the kids get closer, she starts to notice something. She notices that out of the girl's ears, out crawls spiders. So there's spiders coming out of her ears. And she notices that the boy's eyes are switching colors, changing from red to deep black to brown, with just rapidly changing color. At some point, the figure stops, takes his hands off of the kids' shoulders, and the kids continue to walk towards Mel. They get to Melissa. As she's sitting there, she's feeling like she can't move because she's so afraid. She said one of the children put her hands on her head, while the other one put his hands on her heart. She said the closer the kids got, she started to hear this high frequency. It's like her ears started ringing. So once they finally made contact with her, everything just intensified. She said her ears were ringing so bad, she started to feel like her ears were bleeding. She said her eyes felt so heavy that she couldn't keep them open. And she started to lose feeling in her body. When suddenly she blacked out and all she could hear is just a loud beep. She said she woke up from the dream, and at that point, the kid's mother came back. Kids still haven't eaten, kids still haven't slept. And she had a weird dream about the kids that didn't feel like a dream at all. When the mother comes home, she tells them that she doesn't know what it is, but there's something in her spirit telling her that there's something wrong with the kids. And she said the mother told her, don't speak on something that you don't know anything about. The mother tells her that those kids have actually been born for a very long time. They are much older than they look. By about 16 years. They stopped growing at that age 15 years ago. So needless to say, the lady ran home and she never went back. Said at that point she was so horrified that she just needed to move back in with her family. She said she could not stand to sleep alone. And when she went back to her family and explained everything that she went through with those little kids, they told her that, you know, the kids were probably going to drain your energy to death, right? Because those are demon kids. Mel says she just moved away and just never thought about the day again. All right, thank you guys so much
Man, these joints is crazy, bro. I be darned, bro. I'm about to
for watching this spooky story.
listen
Thank
to
you, Mel,
another
for
one,
submitting
bro.
your
This is
story. I
crazy.
tell stories from all over the Caribbean and all over Africa, all over the world. To be submit your don't DM me to buy you longer. Please go ahead, baby. Yo. I'm back with another spooky story, and this one is dream related. So I don't know if you want to watch this before you go to sleep. This one is
Dreams. I want a real life story, but we
the
could
dream
take
that my
this.
neighbor had. I spoke about how my building was a little bit haunted before, and this was one of the dreams that my neighbor had in her apartment, which is adjacent to mine. So basically, she said that she used to always have problems falling asleep in that apartment. If it's not one thing, it's the other. If it's not hearing babies cry when there was no babies around, then it was hearing people coming up the steps when there's nobody coming home. And keep in mind, we live in a townhouse, so it's only 2 apartments in this building. And at the time, we both lived alone. So it would be weird that at random hours of the night, she's hearing people coming up and down the step. Basically, somebody entering and leaving the building. And also, she would hear people speaking outside her apartment. Again, she would assume that it's me because at the time, I lived here, so it has to be me. I assumed that it was her. It wasn't until we got to talking that we realized, oh gosh, it wasn't either of us. So this particular dream that she had in her apartment, she was laying in bed facing her closet. Now, falling asleep in that apartment has always been a problem for her. Again, because of everything that goes on, like in the building. It's very unsettling. So she closes her eyes, trying to comfort herself to sleep, and doesn't remember the point where she actually fell asleep. So she closes her eyes and she opens it and notices that her closet door in her bedroom is like a little bit open. It's like cracked open. So she's laying down and she's just staring at the closet because it's just very unsettling. She looks around the room, doesn't notice anything in particular, but that it's like darker than usual and a little bit grayish. So she's laying there staring into the closet and she can't really see what's in the closet because it's like completely dark in there. So picture this. I don't know, there's something very unsettling about that to me. So as she is staring at the crack of the closet, out of the darkness of the closet emerges a human dog. Yes, a human that looked like a dog. Had a human head, technically a human body, but it was on all fours. That motherfucker ran out the closet, and my neighbor's just looking at this dog literally running around her room in her apartment, and it looks like it's trying to play with her. And she is horrified. She is freaking out, and as she's freaking out, this human dog just runs out of her room. So she goes to close the closet door, and as she approaches the closet to close it, she notices a figure standing inside of the closet. So she made eye contact with said figure, but the entity in the closet is looking back at her like, wait, you can see me? And my neighbor's shocked. She's just standing there staring at this motherfucker in the closet. And he's like, no, you can see me for real? This is not normal. How can you see me, girl? And it seems like he's starting a conversation with her. It was unknown who was more freaked out, my neighbor or the motherfucker in the closet, when she realized that my neighbor could see him and the human dog. My neighbor says she literally ran back to her bed, put her blanket over her head, and like literally squeezed her eyes together. And then she woke up. And when she checked the time, her eyes were only closed for about 2 minutes.
Yeah,
when
it
she
should
did
be
open
like
her eyes
that.
in real life this time, her closet door was cracked. Something she didn't notice before she fell asleep. So she would actually get up in real time and actually close that closet without even looking inside of it. So there's different realms and also different dimensions. And sometimes when we fall asleep, we travel into those dimensions. And I think she winded up in a different realm of her bedroom. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys
It'd be called parallel dimensional space. Really, she probably just was just in her room and then saw what was really behind her closet.
enjoy these spooky stories, please make sure you
But nah, yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we definitely gonna be watching way more of these types of videos if y'all enjoyed them. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video right here. Love you all. Catch my next video. Peace, do a freak out.